Well now, children, tonight old Uncle Tom going to tell you the real true story.
Facing life in prison, LA's biggest crack dealer now is saying he was a pawn in a CIA plot. And his argument was convincing enough that a federal judge postponed sentencing to consider evidence that his main supplier was an agency operative.
Lord, who became a multi-millionaire urban legend in Los Angeles. A rap star even stole his name and parlayed it into a music career. But the real Freeway Ricky Ross ended up spending 20 years in prison.
A small drug empire run by Freeway Ricky Ross with roots in L.A., spreading to Louisiana, Ohio, and Texas. By his own admission, Freeway Rick, on a good day, pulled in $2 or $3 million.
Yeah, the money was good back then.
The director of the CIA was in Los Angeles today, trying to put down reports that the CIA in the past connived to spread crack cocaine in America's inner cities.
You know, his whole intentions was for me to make more money. The more money I made, the more money he made, and I guess the more money that he would have to help sponsor the war.
Leave in the dope game and just hopefully
Absolutely.
focus on.
You know,
okay.
I kind of like mapped my career out after Superfly. I saw the movie Superfly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, and in the movie Superfly, if you remember, he wanted out of the game. You know, he no longer wanted to be a drug dealer, and so with myself, I wanted out. And when I went into the drug business, I went in with the intention that I was not going to get stuck in the game because, you know, you hear so much about, oh, if you sell drugs, you know, the mafia gonna own you, and I didn't want to be owned by anybody. I was selling drugs for freedom, because what I found out is that when you're poor and broke, when you're not free.
Nope.
We got kids right now in South Central that has never been to the beach.
Yeah,
that's true, and it's 10 miles away, maybe 12 miles, if that. You know what I mean?
So that's kind of like being confined
nuts,
into a certain area, certain demographic, and it's not really what I consider as freedom.
It's not growth,
and that's all they know.
How many states did? Because you started obviously in L.A., but I know your, I guess, I don't know, franchise, empire kind of went into other states. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, you know, cocaine it's a funny drug. I mean, well, you know what? Really, all drugs. Has a way of moving around. I mean, even when I was in the pen, I was at USP Lompoc, one of the most secure penitentiaries in the country.
Okay.
And I was in the hole, which is considered like a jail inside of the jail. And while I was there, a guy OD'd in prison, inside of the prison.
Shit.
So you're talking about...
Did you supply him that shit?
No, but
He's like,
that's how deep it rolls. He was in the hole, and he was still getting drugs.
Yeah, meaning that he had no contact with other inmates.
Amazing, but
when you're in the hole, you don't have contact with other inmates.
Well, we were actually on our drive up here, we were talking about Griselda Blanco and how even while she was incarcerated, she was still running all kinds of shit. You know what? And I was like, how? I mean, because I can't wrap my mind around the genius it takes to do something like that.
It is a genius thing. Did you, now, being that you did spread into other territories, did you ever have any problems with any other, you know what I'm saying? Because the 80s, there was a lot of big name, you know what I'm saying, drug dealers in other cities, Chicago, Miami, New York, of course. Did you ever have any problems?
I mean, I've always been kind of seen like the forefront of the crack epidemic, and I don't have the type of personality that would conflict with people. So I mean, I had pretty much of a run. I mean, almost like right now, you know. I mean, it's like
same
crazy.
you, right?
You know, I go some places, man, and they just like open up the city for me. You know, it's like,
wow,
nice,
unbelievable. I cannot believe the kind of love and respect that I'm getting. I mean, I'm just like overwhelmed that people accept me. For what I did. You know.
What did you do differently that the average drug dealer wasn't doing back then? How did you turn $0 into, I think your empire almost reached $600 million?
My last 2 years, I made at least $1 million every day.
Every day?
And some days,
God damn.
And some days up to $3 million. I wasn't into the cars. I wasn't into the clothes.
You were smart. You didn't bring attention to yourself.
No, it didn't. Because if I would have been busted a long time
Right away,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because they created a task force that
Yeah.
was called the Freeway Task Force.
Specifically for you, your name is almost synonymous with CIA, with Ronald
Contras.
Reagan, with Nicaragua.
Yeah,
How did
yeah.
this come about?
Well, it was this reporter named Gary Webb from the San Jose Mercury News, and he was following my old drug supplier. Trying to
Okay.
figure out who this guy was, what was he doing, how did he do it, how was this guy avoiding prosecution for all these years. In his research, he ran into me, and we struck up a friendship, and he told me he was writing a story, and we just started working together.
You funded, and this is what I fucking found amazing, you funded Anita Baker's first album.
I gave Otis Smith the $600,000 to finance her project.
Why didn't you go into hip-hop?
I had a decision, like, do I go with DJ Pooh and do a hip-hop album, or do I go with Otis Smith, Dick Griffey?
Bigger names. DJ Pooh wasn't as big. He hadn't worked with Ice Cube or anybody at that level yet.
Exactly.
So
And then when I went in their offices, they had like the platinum and the gold records. I
DJ
think
Pooh was
Otis-
probably in the garage or something, you know what I
Oh
mean?
man, I go over to the house and it's crazy, right? Because I meet Dre a couple years ago for the first time.
Dr. Dre? Okay.
Yeah, so and I go over to his house and we sitting in his house and he was like, man, that day you came over there with DJ Pooh, I was sitting there. I look at it and I was like, wow, you had
were
all those guys
in there.
right there. You were
Yeah.
right there. And, their project would have been a lot cheaper to finance than what Anita Baker's. And then I had all the independent distribution at that time. I had Otis and Dick Griffey would have did anything that I wanted them to do.
Anything, man.
So, both of them rest in peace. But I was right there,
Well,
man, and
I think you had a decision to make, and you went with the more logical one, because the other one was more of a risk.
Yeah, it wasn't, and they both told me that hip hop wasn't here to stay.
You know what? Let's get on it now. Who do you know the source of who turned you in, or was it just your name was just already out there, and it just was inevitable?
Well, my name was out. I believe that they have what they call a pecking order, and they go to the top of the list and they work their way down.
Right, right.
Well, my name was already there, and when Danilo Blandon, who is my informant, the guy that set me up, when they came to him and told him that they wanted me.